Jayo gopijana vallabha Jayo girivaradhari Jayo girivaradhari Shodanandana braja jana ranjanam Nandana braja jana ranjanam Shodanandana braja jana ranjanam Shodanandana jana ranjanam Yamuna tira vanachari Munatira vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Girivaradhari Jayo Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Shodanandana braja jana ranjanam Shodanandana braja jana ranjanam Shodanandana braja jana ranjanam Munatira vanachari Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Madhava Kṛṣṇa Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11, Shloka 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tam upaśrutya ninadaṁ jagad-bhaya-bhayāvaham pratyudyayuḥ sarvā bhartṛ-darśana-lālasāḥ. Tam upaśrutya ninadaṁ jagat-bhaya-bhayāvaham pratyudyayuḥ sarvā bhartṛ-darśana-lālasāḥ. Please chant. Sarvā bhaya-āvaham darśana-lālasāḥ. Mataji's ninadam bhaya-āvaham udyayuḥ sarvā bhārtṛ-darśana-lālasāḥ upaśrutya ninadam bhaya-āvaham pratyudyayuḥ jagat sarvā tam, that, upaśrutya, having overheard, ninadam, sound, jagat-bhaya, the fear of material existence, bhaya-āvaham, the threatening principle, prati, towards, udyayuḥ, rapidly proceeded, prajāḥ, the citizens, sarvā, all, bhartṛ, the protector, darśana, audience, lālasāḥ, having so desired. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The citizens of Dvārakā, having heard that sound which threatens fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long-desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. Purport. As already explained, the citizens of Dvārakā, who lived at the time of Lord Kṛṣṇa's presence there, were all liberated souls who descended there along with the Lord as entourage. All were very anxious to have an audience with the Lord, although because of spiritual contact they were never separated from the Lord. Just as the gopīs at Vṛndāvana used to think of Kṛṣṇa while he was away from the village for cowherding engagements, the citizens of Dvāraka were all immersed in thought of the Lord while he was away from Dvāraka to attend the Battle of Kurukṣetra. Some distinguished fiction writer in Bengal concluded that the Kṛṣṇa of Vṛndāvana, that of Mathurā, and that of Dvāraka were different personalities. Historically, there is no truth in this conclusion. The Kṛṣṇa of Kurukṣetra and the Kṛṣṇa of Dvāraka are one and the same personality. The citizens of Dvāraka were thus in a state of melancholy due to the Lord's absence from the tranquil city, as much as we are put in a state of melancholy at night because of the absence of the sun. The sound heralded by Lord Kṛṣṇa was something like the heralding of the sunrise in the morning. So all the citizens of Dvāraka awoke from a state of slumber because of the sunrise of Kṛṣṇa, and they all hastened toward him just to have an audience. The devotees of the Lord know no one else as protector. This sound of the Lord is identical with the Lord, as we have tried to explain by the non-dual position of the Lord. The material existence of our present status is full of fear. Out of the four problems of material existence, namely the food problem, the shelter problem, the fear problem, and the mating problem, the fear problem gives us more trouble than the others. We are always fearful due to our ignorance of the next problem. The whole material existence is full of problems, and thus the fear problem is always prominent. This is due to our association with the illusory energy of the Lord, known as Maya, or external energy. Yet all fear is vanished as soon as there is the sound of the Lord, represented by His holy name, as it was sounded by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the following 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all threatening problems of material existence. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatta Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dhina Bandho Jagat-bhaya Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangir Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurat Vishe Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishna Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Ghora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the previous chapter, in this chapter, we hear about the Lord's journey from Hastinapur to Dvāraka. And here in this sloka we also learn how the citizens of Dvāraka, they were depressed for a long time due to Lord's absence, and now when He came, they all ran towards Him to meet Him. It's a well-known fact that in the places close to the North Pole and South Pole, there is something called polar night. Means the night lasts for months, 3-4 months, and then few months of twilight, and then the 6 months is a daylight. So during these long polar nights, it is common thing to suffer some mental depression, to be depressed because of not having the sun. So similarly, Kṛṣṇa is like the sun, Kṛṣṇa Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakara. In his absence, everybody, especially his associates, they suffer depression and melancholy. So in his manifested pastimes here on earth, Lord, he is moving from one abode to another. But when he leaves one abode, he stays there in his unmanifested aprakrita form and goes to another abode in his manifested form. So it's not that he is not present in all abodes at the same time. He is present, but in unmanifested form if he is not present in a manifested form. And Prabhupada here mentions some writer from Bengal who claimed that these are different Kṛṣṇas, Kṛṣṇa of Dvārakā, Kṛṣṇa in Mathurā and Vṛndāvana, that they are different Kṛṣṇas, but this is one and the same person. But only in Vṛndāvana he manifests his qualities in full, in complete qualities. So that's why we say that Kṛṣṇa in Vṛndāvana is the most complete form of God. Although in Dvāraka and Mathurā he is the same person, he doesn't display all characteristics that he displays in Vṛndāvana. So meeting and separation, sambhoga and viraha, are two common themes that we find in Krishna Lila. And especially they are prominent in his Vrindavan pastimes. Meeting and separation in Vrindavan happens on daily basis. In other abodes it happens occasionally, but in Vrindavan it happens on daily basis, because every morning Krishna goes to the forest, and then during the day the Vrajavasis, they suffer separation, and then when he comes back at the evening time, they meet him, and again they are revived from their depression. So how does it look like when Krishna leaves for the forest in the morning? After the breakfast, he takes breakfast with his father, brother, and other residents of Vrindavan, and then he goes out, and first he observes the scenic beauty of Vraj in the morning. He admires the heaps, small hills of cow dung, and the gopīs there making cow dung patties. And then he observes the gopas herding the small cows, trying to stop them going to their mothers. Then he sees huge rivers of white cows and the black rivers of buffaloes, how they're merging together. So it looks like Ganga and Jamuna are meeting. So then, after observing this beauty of Vrindavan, to announce his leaving to the forest, he blows his mandragosha horn. And then all the cows are in front of him, and the cowherd boys are with him, and they slowly leave. So as we hear in this sloka here, when the Lord blows his conch shell, all the Dvarakavasis, they hear the sound, the transcendental sound, and they run to meet him. So similarly, when he blows in Vrindavan his mandragosh horn, all the Vrajavasis, they know that he is now leaving for the forest. So they all, young and old, men and women, they all leave everything they were doing and run to meet Krishna before he leaves for the forest. They become like rivers running towards the ocean of Krishna, and their eyes open, wide open like lotus petals, and incessant streams of tears, they're flowing from their eyes. Yashoda, her clothes completely soaked with tears and breast milk, runs towards Krishna along with the wives of Upananda and others. Krishna's nurses, Kalimba and Ambika and Rohini mother, they all run towards Krishna. And then the gopis are also there with all their leaders, Radharani, Mangala, Shyamala, Bhadra, Pali and Chandravali, they're all the group leaders of different gopis. They all run to meet Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa proceeds, and then he arrives at the edge of the forest, and then he turns his head back, and what does he see? It's all Vrindavan. Just behind him, thousands and thousands of Rajavasis, they came to escort him to the forest. And tears are flowing from their eyes. And they all have fears for his safety in the forest. But they know that they cannot prevent him from going to the forest, but still they are filled with the sorrow. What will happen to him in the forest? So distressed in her mind, Mother Yashoda, he carries Kṛṣṇa on the head with his hands. And she tells him, "Oh dear child, I have hundreds of servants for herding the cows. So why you are so insistent on herding the cows when the servants can do the same job? You're just a tender child. How can your father and mother remain alive while you wander all day in the dangerous forest, rejecting umbrella and the shoes?" She would like Kṛṣṇa to take umbrella to protect him from the sun and shoes to protect his tender feet from thorns. But Kṛṣṇa makes some philosophical points then. He says, herding the cows is my natural duty as some Vaishya. Just as the cows don't have any umbrellas and shoes, so the cowherd, the gopas, also do not have one. According to the scriptures, according to the Shastra, this is the proper conduct. From following these dharma principles, one attains long life and increases his fame. If one follows dharma, if one protects dharma, dharma will protect him. Dharma rakshati rakshita. So how can the duties be given up? Duties should be followed even in a fearful situations. So Nanda and Yashoda, they are blissful to hear that Kṛṣṇa is so wise and that he has so many wise advices and arguments, but still they're filled with anxiety. So that's why they speak to the Kṛṣṇa's friends. Mother Yashoda speaks, O Subhadra, O Mandali Bhadra, O Balabhadra. These are all older friends of Kṛṣṇa. O children, I'm giving this tender, restless child to your hands. Keep him under control, give him instructions, protect him, and if he becomes independent-minded and whimsical, then come and inform me. O Vijaya and others, pay attention and mercifully protect him by surrounding him on all sides with bows, arrows, and clubs. So then Mother Yashoda starts touching the limbs of Kṛṣṇa, different parts of his body with affection, and chants different mantras. Om Keshava Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Mahadeva Namaha. And then she ties around his hand protective amulet, and then she chants Nrsimha mantra, Ugram Viramaha Vishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukam. And in this faith, he protects his child. And finally, Kṛṣṇa was very patient, but then he has to say, "Oh mother or father, please give me permission." And he falls at their feet. We really need to go. Look at the cows, they're turning their heads. They're hungry, they want to go. Please let us go. So they give him blessing. And Kṛṣṇa proceeds. But then he turns after a few seconds and he sees that they're still following him. They're not giving up. And then he places further arguments in front of them. He says, "Oh mother, do not come any further to the forest. Now you should return, just go home and make some mishti doi for me, some sweetened yogurt." And to Nanda he says, "Oh father, my bat for playing the ball," Kṛṣṇa has a bat like these cricket or baseball bats. So he says, it got broken yesterday, so please go home and make few new ones, very strong ones, that I can play when I come back. So in this way, he convinces them to finally stop and not follow him. And then he proceeds. He enters the woods together with the cows and cowherd boys. And Vrajavasis, they all watch it. They look at him as long as he is visible their eyes filled with the tears, and all their senses that turned into the eyes. And as soon as he disappears, all their senses become completely inactive. They become stunned and paralyzed. And then after a long time, somehow they gather and drag themselves back to their homes, completely unconscious and oblivious to everything, somehow mechanically doing household duties, just for day to pass until Krishna comes back. So this happens daily. This separation meeting happens daily in Vrindavan. And then, of course, when Krishna leaves Vrindavan for a long time, for many years, when he goes first to Mathurā and then to Dvārakā, that separation becomes much more intense and much more serious. So Krishna knows how much they suffer. So regularly he sends messages to gopīs, especially to revive them and to encourage them to continue living. But eventually he knows that he has to go back personally. So after killing the Dantavakra, he actually goes back to Vrindavan to console all the residents there. Although this incident is not described in Bhagavatam, but it is there in the other scriptures. So from all these descriptions, we can understand that the pure souls, like Krishna's associates, they are always very anxious to meet Krishna. They are attracted to him like iron filings attracted to a magnet. But this is just a crude example, because iron filings, they will be attracted to a magnet only on a certain distance. But Vrajavasis, they are attracted to Krishna regardless of distance. It can be thousands and millions of miles away. They're still attracted to him by inseparable force of their love. In the 7th canto, Prahlād Maharaj, when he speaks to his teachers Sanda and Amarka, he makes one remarkable point in this regard. He says, "O Brahmanas, as iron attracted by magnetic stone moves automatically towards the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus, I have no independence." And then in a purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, I want to quote a few passages. "For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, all living entities to be attracted towards Krishna is natural, and therefore the Lord's real name is Kṛṣṇa, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything." He who attracts everyone and everything. This is the meaning of Lord's primary name, Kṛṣṇa. We know that the Lord has 64 prominent qualities, although his qualities are unlimited, but 64 are listed there in the Shastra. And 50 is in a minute quantity present in all living entities. And then next 5 are present in powerful personalities like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma. And then from 55 to 60, 5 qualities are present in Narayan. And then there are 4 qualities that only Krishna possesses. And one of these qualities, then he can attract all living entities all over the universe and all over all universes. He can attract everybody just by playing his flute. So this is the most crucial quality that you can distinguish Krishna from everybody else, even from his own expansions and incarnations, that he attracts everybody. He has that power to attract everybody. And then Srila Prabhupada continues in this purport. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, the friends like Sridham, Sudham, and other cowherd boys, the gopīs like Srimati Radharani and her associates, and even the birds, bees, cows and calves are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of Yamuna attracted. the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living beings are attracted by Kṛṣṇa. Isn't this amazing? That everything and everybody is attracted by Kṛṣṇa. This is the natural situation of everything in Vrindavan. And then Srila Prabhupada makes a contrast with the material world. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world where no one is attracted by Kṛṣṇa and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakashipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by women and money, whereas Prahlad Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Kṛṣṇa. So why the living entities in material world are not attracted by Kṛṣṇa? Because they are attracted to material things like money, women, fame, name. You cannot be attracted to the two things simultaneously. You cannot be attracted to spiritual things, to Kṛṣṇa, and to the material things at the same time. Of course, if we are devotees, we have a little bit attraction towards Kṛṣṇa and maybe a little bit attraction towards Maya, so we are somewhere in between. But it's proportional. As soon as you increase your attraction for Kṛṣṇa, your attraction for Maya material things will decrease. And as soon as we become lax and allow our material attractions to increase, our attraction for Kṛṣṇa will go down. And then Srila Prabhupada says, as soon as one is purified of material contamination, he is again attracted by Kṛṣṇa. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. In the material world, everyone is contaminated by the dirt of sense gratification and is acting according to different designations. Sometimes as a human being, sometimes as beast, sometimes a demigod or tree, and so on. One must be cleansed of all these designations. Then one will be naturally attracted to Kṛṣṇa. So this means that we are not attracted by Kṛṣṇa because we are covered by all these different designations, a man, woman, young, old, or whatever our role is. Because we are covered by these upadis, we are not attracted by Kṛṣṇa. And as soon as these upadis, these designations are removed, as soon as all the dirt from the heart is removed, naturally we'll become attracted to Kṛṣṇa. We will not even have to put any effort in it. We'll naturally become attracted to him. And at the end of that part, Prabhupada confirms, unless one is free from all material desire, anyavilashita shunyam, one cannot be attracted by Kṛṣṇa. So we have to become free from these material desires and upadis in order to become attracted by Kṛṣṇa. Another point that Prabhupada was making in the purport of the shloka that we read, that in material world we are always fearful. And that fear comes due to these designations of upadis. It comes from our identification with this body and the mind. And because the body and the mind is in the atmosphere of impermanence, where there is a danger in every step, at every moment something might happen to threaten my gross or subtle body, my ego, and that's why we are always anxious what will happen next and how I will be able to deal with it. And due to this fear arises. And this is the most prominent problem of the material existence. Food problem, shelter problem, what else is there? Full shelter, mating, and then the fear or defense. This is the problem that is the most prominent. So I guess in last 1.5 years we all witness how the fear is the prominent. The whole world is seized by the fear, by something so small that you cannot even see it, on an electron microscope, and everybody is wondering when is going to be the next wave, or what is going to be the next variant. Should I take a vaccine or not, or which vaccine should I take? Should I get a 1 dose or 2 or 3 or 4? Or some people are afraid from vaccines. What if I get a side effects and remain paralyzed or die? So many fears are there, but the common factor that everybody is afraid. So regardless of the cause, the death is looming upon our heads. And it's natural that we are afraid. And all this fear, how it is spread? It is spread to the sound vibration of the media. Otherwise, if we wouldn't know what is happening in other parts of the world, we wouldn't really be afraid. But because the media is so powerful now, it spreads the fear very fast. So, in the same way as the fear could be spread to the sound, that same fear can be destroyed through the transcendental sound. And in this shloka we hear, Prabhupada also explains, just by blowing his conch, Kṛṣṇa can disperse all the fear of material existence. So fear is the creation of our material mind and ego, because we have misidentified our soul with the material body. Liberated souls, they have no fear. Prahlad Maharaj, he felt no fear, although he was thrown in a boiling oil, thrown off the cliff under the feet of the elephants. He absolutely had no fear. He remained fixed in his consciousness. True devotees, they have fear only for Kṛṣṇa, for Kṛṣṇa's safety. Like Brajavasis, they just fear for Kṛṣṇa. But for their own bodies, they're completely fearless. Shukadeva Goswami, he speaks to Maharaj Parikshit in a second canto, one interesting shloka. He says, Atma mayam rite rajan. He says, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Lord, parasya anubhava atmana na gadnetartha sambandha. There is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. There is no meaning to the relationship of the body with the soul. Swapna drashturim vanjasa. This relationship is just like a dreamer's seeing his own body working. And then Srila Prabhupada in Purport, he gives example, we might be dreaming that a tiger is chasing us. And we are very afraid. But actually that situation is not clear, not real. When we wake up, we realize there is no tiger. And then naturally, we lose all fear. So similarly, once we wake up from the dream of this body and the mind identification, we become completely fearless. And also in 11th canto, Sri Kavi, he says to Maharaj Nimi, basically this is the definition of the fear. Bhayan dvitya biniveshita syad, he says, fear arises due to absorption in something else but the Lord. So when we are absorbed in something else that is not Kṛṣṇa, then the fear will be there. Ishad apetasya viparyo smriti. Jiva by misidentifying with the body turns away from the Lord and forgets Him. Tan maya to Buddha abhajetam. This is being caused by Maya. Intelligent should worship the Lord fully. Bhaktya Ikayakesham Guru Deva Tatma, by unalloyed devotion under the guidance of the Guru. So root cause of our fear is absorption in something else. And as long as we are not absorbing Kṛṣṇa, we must fear something, whether it's a virus, today or tomorrow, earthquake, flood, Talibans, whatever it is, we have to be afraid if we are not Kṛṣṇa conscious. So a real cure for our fear is transferring our absorption from body and the mind to Kṛṣṇa. So no number of safety measures can make us free from that fear. We can be locked till the end of our lives in our house, still will be fearful. So we need to be in touch with the Lord, who is feared by the fear person personified, in order to become fearless. So what we need is immunity from viruses of material desires and designations. And these viruses are much more dangerous than any COVID variant now or in the future. Material desires and designations is what makes us fearful. So when our mind is purified to the transcendental sound vibration, and when with such a purified mind we hear and chant about Kṛṣṇa, then our natural attraction will awaken. So basically, when the heart is clean, as soon as we hear about Kṛṣṇa, immediately we'll feel attraction. We won't have to put any effort in it. Like Queen Rukmini, she never saw Kṛṣṇa. She just heard from Narada and others talking and describing his glories. And immediately she became so attracted. Why did she become attracted? Because she was pure. Her heart was completely pure. And immediately a natural attraction in her heart arose. And when this attraction is awakened, it will lead to absorption. And then when one is absorbed, he completely forgets about his material body, and there is no question of fear. There is an example, nice example of one associate of Lord Chaitanya, actually Lord Nityananda's associate, Murari Chaitanya. And it's described in Chaitanya Bhagavatam that he had no material bodily features, that he was completely spiritual. He would sometimes chase tigers and slap them on the cheeks. He was so fearful. Treat tigers like cats and dogs. Sometimes he would remain submerged under the water for a few days, completely oblivious to his material body. He was completely forgetful of his material body. And he felt no inconvenience. He behaved almost like a stone and wood, and always used his energy in chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 24 hours a day. So this is the glory of somebody who is completely transcendental to material body. Of course, we cannot imitate that, and I'm not saying that we should jump into the mouth of a tiger or a virus, but still, this is the ideal to look upon. Srila Prabhupada also, his name was Abhay Charan. Abhay means the fearless. When one reporter in the 70s asked Srila Prabhupada, how does it look like to be Krishna conscious? Prabhupada immediately said, no fear. No fear. For him this was very significant. When you are Krishna conscious, you have no fear. Another point made in these passages that I read, that attraction towards Krishna, towards the Lord, and inclination to serve Him is our intrinsic nature. It's inherent in the heart of a jiva. And we just need to purify the heart for this nature to manifest. And the degree that the heart is purified, this attraction will spontaneously manifest. In some Vaishnava schools and also in some lines of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, this is questioned, whether bhakti is actually inherent in the jiva or not. And it's complicated philosophical issue relating to the ontology of the self. But Srila Prabhupada and his predecessors, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were quite clear on this point. I just want to read a short passage from Bhaktivinoda Thakur for his Samodhana Bhashya on Shikshashtaka 8 shloka. He says there, this statement establishes the principle of an inherent and eternal relationship between the infinitesimal jiva and the infinite Supreme Lord. This relationship becomes obscured, however, when the spirit soul turns away from Kṛṣṇa. But when by good fortune the jiva's consciousness becomes purified, then the eternally mutual relationship between the Lord and the jiva is rejuvenated, just as a clean and shiny piece of iron is most efficiently magnetic prone. Purification is thus necessary in order to manifest the inherent and eternal relationship. Other than this, the process of purification has no real function. Therefore, the purified jivas who are sadhakas of the prema dharma, or the path of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, should realize that this path is highly allergic to all other results, save and except Krishna prema. So some devotees, they object that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying something different from Srila Jiva Goswami, his Paramatma Sandarbha and other Sandarbhas. But actually he's saying exactly the same thing that the source text that Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who actually wrote originally Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami edited them. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying the same thing that these source texts from Sri Sampradaya say, that Jiva Goswami used in Sandarbhas. Just in slightly different vein he is presenting it. That's why it looks like that the bhakti is not intrinsic and inherent in the heart of the jiva. So we have these two types of attraction towards Krishna and attraction towards sense objects, and they are mutually averse to each other. And attraction towards the sense objects is keeping us from developing our attraction to Krishna. So that's why we have to be very careful how to regulate and decrease these attractions towards the material things. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he makes a nice point in one of his talks that is found in Amritavani. He says, but if those who are attracted become absorbed in some irrelevant object on the way to their Lord, that means he speaks about the devotees, and on the way to the Lord, if we become attracted to something irrelevant, they fall down from their original attraction. The living entities therefore face two types of attraction: the bondage or artificial attraction of material existence and attraction to Krishna. Sense objects that have form, taste, sound and touch are always nearby. Because we are weak, we are attracted to them. Therefore, we should absorb ourselves in hearing Harikatha from living sources, powerful devotees. If we continue to hear such katha from Guru and Sadhu, we will be protected from the enemies that drag our senses away. Until we are fully attracted to Krishna, Maya will always attract us. So he warns us about the danger of attraction to the material sense objects, and he gives us the treatment, hearing Harikatha from pure devotees. And of course, hearing transcendental sound vibration of the holy name is also there to decrease our attraction to matter and increase our attraction to Krishna. So I think I will slowly stop here. Basically the main point that I wanted to make was that attraction to Krishna is our inherent dharma, our inherent nature. And in order to uncover it, we have to become free from material contaminations and designations. And once we remove these unnecessary things from our hearts, this attraction will naturally, spontaneously arise in our hearts. And in this state, we'll become completely fearless to all conditions of this material world. So we should all strive towards it. Okay, we'll stop here if you have any comments or maybe questions. Yes, Prabhu, here's the mic. You just switch it on.
Hare Krishna. Everyone?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for, I feel encouraged to work on myself to, be more attracted to Krishna. I had a question about fear that came into mind, and the Rajvasis, when they would also experience fear when the demons would come. You know, the gopis would embrace the tumultries. So I wanted to understand.
Which occasions they express fear? I didn't hear. Can you just repeat?
The last part?
Yeah.
I remember reading in Kṛṣṇa book that the gopis, when they would see the...
Is it on?
Hello?
Yeah.
So I remember reading in Kṛṣṇa book that the gopis, when the demons would come, they would, there's like one pastime where they would embrace the tumultry. So I wanted to understand for Vaishnavas, when they experience that emotion or that feeling of fear, what are the difference between them feeling fear and then from someone feeling fear due to, you know, something else or...
Yeah, you basically want to know the difference between material fear and spiritual fear felt by the eternal residents of the spiritual world. There is a vast difference between material emotion as the fear and anxiety and all other material emotions that we experience in this world and the emotions experienced in the spiritual world. This material fear is a product of material mind. It's anxiety that it's increasing your absorption in the body. On the contrary, the spiritual fear, it's just one manifestation of pure love for Kṛṣṇa. Like separation, spiritual separation, viraha bhava, that is experienced by gopis and other Vrajavasis. Externally, it looks miserable, it looks like they're suffering. But Acharyas, they explained that actually it's at the highest bliss, that we cannot even imagine the bliss of that separation, because their love for Kṛṣṇa is increasing unlimited number of times while experiencing these feelings. So these are completely transcendental feelings. So the transcendental fear also has nothing to do with the material body and mind, since they have no material body and mind. So they are not fearful for themselves. They couldn't care less from themselves. Even if it looks like they care for their bodies, it's only for Kṛṣṇa's sakes. They decorate body only to be beautiful for Kṛṣṇa. During the forest fire, they all approach Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa, please protect us. But it's not that they were afraid for their own bodies, because their bodies were dedicated towards Kṛṣṇa, and they knew that Kṛṣṇa would suffer if their bodies were burned, and if they would die, that Kṛṣṇa would not be pleased. So although it looks like they're fearful for themselves, it's not. It's very difficult to experience the emotions that we have never to explain the emotions that we never experienced. We have to come to that platform to experience these transcendental emotions. Fear is also one of them. I remember there is one passage in Nectar of Devotion where few cowherd boys, they're standing, and then they notice the black cloud coming over the Govardhan hill, and immediately they're taking their swords, they're taking the clubs and making threatening movements and surrounding Kṛṣṇa to protect him. So, and then the another boy is telling them, my dear Mandalibhadra, my dear Shrida, my dear Subal, please leave these weapons away. This is not a demon Arishtasura who is coming, it's just a cloud. So and they experienced this transcendental fear for Kṛṣṇa's safety, and then they manifested all these movements. So it's very difficult to explain it in words. You have have to experience it. It's something completely different in quality than material fear. It's called fear, but it's like iron and gold. Material fear is like iron, and spiritual one is like a gold. It's completely different, and only those who experience it, they can describe it. Actually, I also cannot describe it. The bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, it's ocean of rasa, and in this ocean there are thousands and unlimited number of transcendental emotions that manifest sometimes like a fear or sorrow or negative, so-called negative emotions, and we just use these words to describe them like that, but actually their nature and the quality is completely different from the negative emotions of the material world, like sorrow and fear of the material world. They're all blissful emotions that are uplifting you. The material emotions, this is the most maybe one of the distinctions. Negative material emotions, they just drag you down, lower into the tamoguna. But these transcendental so-called negative emotions, they're above the gunas, they're above even the sattva guna, and they just increase your love for Kṛṣṇa. It's incomparable. There cannot be any comparison between material emotions and spiritual emotions. It's a completely different world, completely different categories. Just because we have no other words to describe them, we use the same words, but it's something completely different. This is how much I can say.
So my understanding from this is that it's based on attachment. So the Vrajavasis, their attachment is to Kṛṣṇa. So when they're experiencing fear, that attachment is towards Kṛṣṇa. Whereas someone who has a more materialistic mindset, or just someone who's just materialistic, their attachment is to this body, or to their possessions, or to their family, to the nation. So their feeling of fear is, as you said, incomparable.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, it's an attachment. This is the crucial difference, because their fear arises from their attachment and love for Kṛṣṇa, and our fear arises from attachment to this material body. This is the crucial difference. Thank you for pointing. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dhanyavad.
About the fear, actually last two words, the concluding words, Prabhupada saying that we can take advantage of these sounds and be free from all threatening problems of material existence. Prabhupada stresses the mantra, Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Also we have heard that the chant we do, nearly I am a new devotee, and the chanting done by the senior devotees or the pure devotees is totally different, because more absorption, more involvement are there. So I like to understand from you that how the new devotee can achieve that, take advantage of this sound, because we also chant 16 now. You also chant 16 now. Senior devotees also chant 16 now. But there is a lot of difference of chanting due to the absorption, due to the involvement, due to the attention. So I want to your opinion about that.
Yeah, the quality of chanting will differ in different individuals, but regardless of our level, whether we are neophyte or madhyama or the most advanced devotee, still we can all take advantage of Lord's presence in His holy name. So as we know, holy name can be chanted in 3 stages as Namaparada, offensive chanting, Nambasak, the clearing stage, and Shuddhanam. So even if we are neophyte, new devotee, we should work very hard to avoid all the offenses. Do our best, including to chant very attentively, to give our full attention to the sound of the holy name. And through this association with the holy name, our heart will quickly, or depending on us of course, will become purified, and then with the purified, as we explained in the class, the attraction towards the name and the form and qualities and pastimes of the Lord will arise and will make gradual advancement. So regardless of the level of advancement, the holy name is there for all of us. Like the sun is present for everywhere, just we have to come and take the rays of the sun. So similarly, we cannot say, oh, I'm not advanced, I have to chant with offenses. No, we should give our best to avoid all the offenses and to chant with the maximum attention. And then very quickly, it will not be any more neophyte, it will be elevated and will make progress. And it's a gradual process, it's a practice, it's a sadhana. So we have to work with it, but we have to have proper conviction. Conviction, faith, enthusiasm, and then gradually the heart will become purified. And even if the mind is giving us trouble, still we should try our best to control it and to return our attention to the sound of the holy name. Because Kṛṣṇa, Nama Chintamani Kṛṣṇa, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, he is not different from his name. And how much he will manifest in that sound vibration is dependent on us, on our faith, on our attitude, on our approach, and we can work on it. That much I can say. Yes, Prabhu, in the back.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the class. On the point, the main topic of the class is we increase our attraction to Kṛṣṇa when we are getting purified of our material designations and anarthas like that. So now when we get higher taste, we are able to let go of the lower taste. So it's working like that. And but how much effort are we doing to increase our attraction for Kṛṣṇa? Because only once we are freed from the designations, Prabhupada always used to say, you're not the body so many times. So it takes time to sink in. And we are identifying, though we may understand we are not the body, but we are still identifying so many things on the bodily platform. We are identifying ourselves as so and so in so many contexts. So there is also a considerable effort on our side to actually not identify ourselves. So our chanting becomes more effective. We are getting purified when we're getting rid of anarthas, but also they are working hand in hand. Like we are getting taste, also by proactively, not identifying on the bodily platform. So, can you comment a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's not black and white. When you are washing something and it's black, it's not that immediately it will become white. It's a gradual process. So in the same way, the cleansing of the heart is a gradual process, and developing attraction to Kṛṣṇa and decreasing attraction to Maya is a gradual process. So it's inversely proportional. So we work, actually our process is positive. We work on it to increase our attraction to Kṛṣṇa, because that attraction is in a potential state, inherent state, already present in the heart. So we already, whatever our level is, we already have some little attraction. I remember when my mother first saw a photo of Kṛṣṇa in a book. It was a Shyamasundar, that beautiful photo where Kṛṣṇa is surrounded with the bees and the garland and flowers. And she just couldn't stop staring at it. And then she told me in the morning, oh, I dreamt that person from that photo that you show me in the book. It was so potent, because every jiva has that potential in the heart. So some attraction is there in the heart. So whatever our level of cleanliness or coveredness with anarthas is there. If we start working there, gradually the impurities will decrease and attraction will naturally manifest. So we just have to uncover it.
So it seems like if we just chant attentively, now we have
And avoid offenses.
and avoiding
10 offenses are there.
So it's also automatically helping us to not to identify on the bodily platform, correct? There is some effort we make through hearing, like we are getting realizations through hearing, but also some of it is automatically happening, like you're not identifying on the bodily platform as you're making spiritual progress, and that's coming through proper chanting.
Yeah, we should also avoid things that will absorb us more in the matter, in the maya, indulging in unrestricted sense gratification, even if it's not against the regulative principles, but if it takes our mind away, it's not favorable. So all sort of engagements with the sense objects that will take our mind away and absorb it in something material are also not favorable. So we should at the same time, while practicing sadhana, avoid these sort of things that will drag our mind away. So it's on both sides we have to work, on decreasing the attachment to Maya and increasing attachment to Krishna. Both has to be tackled, not just one. Thank you. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.